it's Gary. Welcome back to another edition of ManView. Let's jump right into it with this awesome new solar light. And it's kind of I'm gonna have to read the description to you because it's just too long for me to say it or remember it. It's a solar pendant light with a remote control, which I absolutely love. It's got a timer on it, adjustable panels, and a motion sensor. It's got 160 LED lights, super bright. And it's great for houses, garage, barns, um, pretty much gazebos, decks, any place that you have a need for a light, but you don't have any electric. So you see in the picture right here, it has that fan type of view to it. It's called the star design. It doesn't spin. The lights themselves can move up and down in a 120-degree angle, and I'm going to show you that in the live video in a few minutes. Underneath that in the center, you can see that it has the on-off switch. It has lights to indicate how much it's charged or if it's actually charging at all. And the big white bulb in the center is the motion detector. It comes with a remote, which actually has the batteries included, which is another great feature. And the remote's super easy to use. And of course, this solar panel, which we'll get into in a few minutes. The cable itself is over 16 feet long. So you really have a lot of flexibility on where you want to put that light. The three modes that you can put this light into. Technically, it has 4 on the remote control, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It also has actually 5 modes, and the 5th mode is an automatic mode that you don't use the remote control for, but it actually happens on its own. I'll explain that in a minute. So as you can see here in the center of the page, you can really pretty much put this light anywhere that you want permanently, or what I love even more, you can take it remotely. You don't have to make this a permanent feature, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. So it does have the remote control. You can actually dim the light all the way down, and you have the availability to make the light brighter all the way up to level 5, which is super bright security light. Again, I'm going to show you that in a little bit. So the 3 modes, the basic modes that you get with this is the mode 1 is dim to bright with motion. What that means in the picture, the first picture here on the left, is that it's always lit very lightly, just enough so you can see what's going on beneath the light, probably within a 12-foot type of radius area. As soon as the light detects motion, which is about 8 to 9 feet is what I found that the light picks up motion, it goes from that dim light into instant security bright light for 20 seconds. So it's one of those things where if you put it by your garbage cans, maybe it's not so well lit there. You can see the garbage cans, and as you start walking over to it and you get close to them, boom, the light goes super bright and you can see everything really well to do what you have to do. So that's mode 1. That's usually used most commonly for areas that I just explained. Maybe you have an outside deck in the backyard or your front porch where you want to show a little light, but as soon as somebody comes close to it, you want it to go bright light. So that's a very well used mode. The second mode is more of a security type of feature mode, or what I call an animal scare off mode. What that is that the light goes completely black. And as soon as somebody comes into the sensor motion, again, that 8 to 9 feet range, the light suddenly comes on and it's super bright and it's in security mode. So let's say you put this by your garden, which is where I put my lights before. I've hung it over my outside gardens or vegetables, and the light is off. As soon as those squirrels or raccoons or something tries to get into my garden at night, bang, the light comes on, scares the heck out of them, dodges off, keeps your garden nice and safe. It also, if you're using it around like a garage, a place of business, it gives the impression to somebody on the outside that somebody has been spotted, or you've been spotted on the outside and somebody on the inside has seen you and turned on a light switch and made the light go on. So that's usually a little bit more of a security type of functionality that you would use that for, which works really good in regards to giving the impression that somebody's actually home and turned the light on because they saw somebody on the outside. So a little bit more interaction that they think somebody could be live and watching them. With the first mode, it's kind of common knowledge that a light that's lit low and when you get close to it turns on, it's probably an automatic sensor. Doesn't necessarily mean somebody inside turned on a light suddenly, like motion or mode 2 would indicate. Now, motion 3 is a constant on light. So you can have that light just on all the time. And you can put it very dim light all the way down to 20%, to 40, 60, 80, or 100%. and you can have that light on all the time. Now, the lower the light is in regards to the brightness, of course, the longer the battery is going to last throughout the night. So if you have it on the lowest light, which I think is that 20%, I usually kind of leave around that 40%, which is enough to see everything that's going on from a window view. I get about almost 7 to 8 hours on that. If I go to 60 to 80, I get about 6 hours. 100%, I get like maybe 4 to 5 hours on there. So that's kind of the time frame, and it depends if that day it was cloudy, it's rainy, it's winter. You may not get as full of a charge as you may need. As you can see in the picture, this is great if you need light in an area where you don't want to run electricity to, or need light temporarily. This is awesome for that. Such as here in the garage. If you have lights off to the side or you need to hang it, you can just take it with this 16-foot cable, move that light anywhere you want, and just hook it on something, and it gives you super bright light to where you need to work. This is great for a bunch of different areas. My neighbor has this, and they actually use this in their attic because they didn't want to run lights into the attic and put a switch, a return switch to put a light switch at the bottom of the staircase because it's an inside, obviously, attic. So what they did is they hooked this up to the rafter in the attic, ran the cable right outside the vent, and mounted the solar panel on the outside of the house. It was always catching sun. Left it on mode 2, which was that security mode we just talked about. So it's always dark. As soon as he pulls the ladder down, he climbs up into his attic, bang, the light comes on. He's got a full attic view for 20 seconds. As long as he's moving around in there, the light stays on. So it's not really that big of a deal. He's only in there for a few minutes. So just another great way to use this light, whether it's temporarily or permanent. Like I said on the bottom here, it shows that it's motion detection, has a remote control, and more importantly, behind my picture, which you can't see, it shows that it needs no electricity, so you're not getting any bills for it, and that's an awesome feature all by itself. I'm going to be honest with you, it is April here in New York on Long Island. I've only had it for a few weeks, so I cannot tell you how it fares in ice, cold, freezing, rainy weather, but I will do an update on that when we hit the winter again. And I haven't gotten quite into the summer, so I don't know under extreme heat how this is going to turn out. But at least for the few weeks I've had it now, it's worked out perfectly fine. I have had a lot of rain. We've had some severe thunderstorms here and severe wind, and it's held up perfectly with no issues at all. But looking at this picture, I want to bring out that very important feature. If you need to use this light temporarily and you want to do something like this, just hang it someplace, whether it's hanging it on a deck, hanging it over a pole that you may have higher above your porch, on a tree, wherever you want to do it. Please note that just do that temporarily wise. You don't want to leave it like that because in high winds, that's going to catch and it's going to wind up flailing that light around and it's going to wind up breaking your light. It's not meant for that. This is a temporary kind of a hookup if you want to do something like that. If you're going to mount it permanently, the bracket right over the light allows you to permanently mount that to a rafter, beam, a board, any place you want. I'm going to show you how I did mine live in a second. Portable, absolutely love this part of it, meaning that if you're a camper and you like to use your RV, you go camping at night, just like the picture shows here, you have a temporary light. As long as you have sun, you're always gonna have hours and hours of light. Super easy. Even a better feature from this is, let's say that you're going to a 2 or 3 hour, maybe 4 hour event in the evening, and you want some light with you. You don't have to take the panel with you. It unscrews, just pops right off. Take the light, as long as it's charged, you have 3, 4, 5 hours worth of light that you can go to watch movies under the stars. Let's say you want a little light by the table, hook it up on a little pole there. You have light to work with. You want to go camping and have light for a few hours inside the tent or inside the RV, at the beach, wherever you want. You don't need to take the solar panel with you. As long as it's charged, you take the light, turn it on, and you got light. So I love the fact that you can use this permanently, or the fact that you can take it with you if you need to go. In your backyard, you may have sections, let's say it's a shed, or in my case, this isn't my picture, this is just a stock picture from the company, but you could have a garden out in the backyard where you may not have electricity. So this is great, again, to scare off animals that are in the area trying to get into your garden. Let's say you have an herb garden like I have, and it's towards the evening, and you want to go out in the garden and pick some basil, thyme, whatever you may need. You can go out to the garden. As soon as you get close to it, bang, the light goes on. You can go into your garden, take anything that you want to do, and you're out. So you always have that availability to pretty much put it anywhere that you'd like to put it. The first mode just means the light is dim, enough just to see a little bit around. As soon as somebody walks into the area, about 8, 9 feet, boom, the light comes on super bright for 20 seconds, or unless there's still movement, and then the light returns back to the dim mode. That's mode 1. Mode 2, kind of more of that security feature, or I call scare off animal feature. So it's pitch black. Somebody comes into that 8, 9 range, or an animal comes into your garden, that's going to turn on super bright. And as long as motion's going on, that light's going to stay on. And then as soon as the motion stops, light goes completely black. Motion 3 is constant on it all night. So that means that it just stays on. There's no indicator or motion detector. It stays on all night long. The lower the light volume, the longer the hours you can get out of the light. So you play with that and see what works best for you, how long you may need that light for. Mode 4 is it stays off and it's activated by motion in the daytime. I don't see a lot of use for that. I really don't. I don't even know why. I'm going to think maybe it's more for security in regards to a safety issue. So what it is that the light is on during the day, and when it sees motion, it just goes brighter. But again, during the day. So maybe they're trying to direct people to watch their step when they're going down a staircase or going up a staircase or a doorway that's nearby. It kind of brightens it up and brings even more attention to maybe the area. That's the only reason I can see it. I don't see a lot of homeowners using that mode. And mode 5 is where it's automatic. There's no button on the remote control for it, but this is an awesome feature. I've never seen this on another device like this one that has it built in. This is what makes this one a little bit special. Mode 5, again, during the day, it's an auto mode, which means it happens automatically. It stays lit all day, and auto turns back to mode 4 when the battery hits 60%. So the light is always on during the day, and then as soon as the battery wears out and the battery goes to 60%, it automatically switches over to mode 4, which means it's just going to turn the light off until somebody comes into range, and it's going to turn the light on then. So it kind of keeps the battery lasting a little bit longer by auto switching into that mode. So it's not big. I was a little taken back when I saw it and I opened it up and I said, oh, this kind of looks small. I mean, how good could it be? It's tiny. It's like that big. Like it's a little over 11 inches. It does have the indicator lights up on the top. As you can see, the green indicator from 30, 50, up to 100%. And the purple shows that it's actually charging because you have your solar panel light on. If for some reason you don't have your remote, you lose the remote, you can change the modes by clicking on the switch here in the center, or off to the right, I should say, of the center of the motion detector. The middle white bulb is the actual motion detector itself. Now you don't have to point that motion detector off to the side, left or right. Pointing straight down works perfectly fine in a radius 8 to 9 feet out from the light. That works amazing. I love the fact that even where it's pointed, it picks up motion detection outside the range of the diameter. Really, really cool stuff. The button to the left of that over to the side is just a simple off and on switch. As I mentioned before, it's got over a 16.5 foot, really, really thin cable. So it fits through very, very tiny holes. We put it right through the vent in my neighbor's attic, and it works perfectly fine. The great part, and you guys know how I am with solar lights and reviewing them. I don't love them all. I don't hate them all. But they have their place depending on where you want to use them. But the important thing of any solar light is really two things. It's the brightness of it, and it comes down to the solar panel. This solar panel is over 9 inches in length, as you can see here by the diagram, over 7 inches wide. It's a pretty fairly nice sized panel. And the good thing about it is that it's not plastic. You guys know how I feel about plastic solar panels. They oxidize, they warp, they eventually get so corroded and buckle that your light doesn't work at all. They're garbage. You find those with the tiny little lawn lights or trinket lights for the garden. They're plastic. They only last a summer or two and then they're garbage at best. This is glass. It's that tempered glass blackout, which is going to hold up like my other lights I showed you before has that really good tempered glass on it, which will last for years. Very well made metal lock-in all around it. So I love the panel, very sturdy, very well made. Let's take a look at the live video of it during the day and how it was mounted, and take a look at what it looks like at night in the different settings. Let's switch over. Okay, so here we are outside at the portico. So what I did is I mounted the light directly to the beam there. Again, it's very easy to just screw right through the 2 or 3 mounting holes in the bracket. You can see it's small, but it's extremely powerful. Wait till we show you the night view. The solar panel, I didn't really need to move it any other place other than where it was, so it was nice and convenient for me, at least for here. So I just mounted it directly above it. Now these fins, each one of the paddles, they tilt slightly down and they tilt all the way up 120 degrees. They don't rotate left to right. The nice thing about this is I can also angle the entire unit to either light up a little bit more of the walkway as well as the deck. I can angle it any way I want, and it's very sturdy. It will stay in that position, so I can just swing this either way to just get the lighting right. And this is something that you're going to want to play with at night when the lights are off. You can just adjust it, and you'll see me doing that in a few seconds. So I can angle this so I have more light towards the main deck as well as the deck below. And I can also use the fins to tilt up or down to light up any walkway that's on the other side of me. In this case, it's behind me. So here I can tilt the fins all the way up. I'm trying to do this with one hand while I'm holding the camera with the other. That's why it looks a little awkward. But as you can see, I've tilted these panels up so I can light up the walkway, which is where these panels are facing, as well as keeping the other fins straight down on the main deck. So here we are, obviously in the evening. It's just on dim light right now. I'm pointing the camera directly at it. It doesn't do it much justice. Here we go. So as I get within just a few feet, my camera zoomed in a little bit, but this is security mode. So it was very dim and then it went bright because obviously it saw me moving. But look how bright this is. It lights up not only the whole deck area, but it lights up the entire walkway that I'm standing on. Now I was pretty still for over 20 seconds, so the light went back to dim mode. Okay, I moved slightly, so bang, it went right back into security mode, which is super bright. It lights up the entire walkway, one side. Those are just accent lights. They're just lighting up the fence. That's not giving you the light that you see here that walks all the way back to the shed. Okay, lights up the whole back, the walkway. I absolutely love it. It's just so powerful for this tiny little light. You look at it originally and you're like, this can't do much. But look how bright that is. I love it. Okay, so it went out because I was a little far away from it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it into constant mode, which is just on all the time. And then we'll go through each of the levels of lighting. So every time you see the light flash, that's me clicking the remote control, bringing it all the way down to level 1. So this is 20%. So as you can see with 20%, which you're going to get a lot more battery life out of, this is still pretty bright. This is enough to walk outside in your deck, walk around, get something that you need, go back inside. You certainly can see plenty at the lowest setting light, which will give you close to about 8 hours. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click the plus sign on the remote control. There we go. And every flash that you see, I'm going up one level to 40%, now to 60%, getting to that 80%. So right now I'm just at 80. You see how dark it is off to the left, and then one more bang is going to give me that 100% brightness. Between 80 and 100, I didn't see a huge difference, but it's just tremendous on how bright it is. Like I said before, the way you angle the panels and the fins on this will give you as much light. I get enough light off to the side deck, and just again, like in comparison, look how it even gives some light off to the fence in the back. So guys, look, this is a great product. I highly recommend it. I've seen products like this and the quality is just not good for $20 more. So jump on there, grab the link below in the description and check out this light. the supply and demand with everything going on now is really, really hard to get. So if they're available, get it right away before they're not available anymore. There's also some other light features and that have different colors and stuff from other products that I'll put in the links below. Enjoy, guys.